Good night. It's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at night, Channel 95. We're back for one more show of the Neighborhood News. For our Portuguese listeners out there, sejam bem-vindos para mais um programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. É terça-feira, Canal 95. Nós estamos de volta para mais um programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. Não se esqueça que amanhã, quarta-feira, às 8 horas da noite, vai poder assistir a um programa feito em português, chamado Amigos, e nós temos lá também à sua espera convidados que falem português para passarem meia hora connosco e falar de assuntos locais. Também quero lembrar que nós temos o nosso departamento e programa de notícias portuguesas com duas brasileiras que fazem aquele programa de notícias para vós. Este programa eu apenas trabalho no estúdio e dou o suporte a elas por trás da cortina. Today we are back in the studio again with one more guest. Before I introduce my guest, I want just to remind you that tomorrow, Wednesday, at 8 o'clock at night, you can watch a Portuguese show called Amigos here on Channel 95, and that's a show taped in Portuguese for all the listeners. I would like to remind you too that we do have Brazilian guests that produce Portuguese news here too, and that show goes on the air on Wednesdays too. Coming back to neighborhood news today, I want to welcome my guest, Collin Dias. I heard the name. I heard the name before. I actually saw a couple of posts on Facebook. That's the first time that I heard about you. But I had the opportunity to hear you for the first time and see you for the first time when you approached the city councils last week. And I was kind of motivate me to bring you to the show and to give you more than 3 minutes, because I don't think 3 minutes it's enough to talk about politics, especially in Fall River. So with that being said, I want to bring you back and give you plenty of time for us to go through your ideas. You're young. I have two daughters that one is 18, one is 20. And they follow politics just on my table when we're having dinner. That's the only time that they talk about politics, and they talk about politics and they ask me questions because they know that I'm involved. But it's good to have somebody as young as you that looking into politics and trying to get involved and be the voice for those young people that for some reason they don't like to voice, at least publicly, their voice. So let me start by asking you how this came into the play, the politics side.
Well, my political side, I started watching presidential elections. Mm-hmm. I started with that. That really got my interest in politics in general. Then I watched more local channels. Mm-hmm. And this was before my uncle ever became the mayor. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, this is something I want to watch. This is something I want to be involved in. I didn't have many ideas at that time because I was only very young, but it was just something I wanted to be involved in, and my knowledge and persuasion grew over time about Fall River politics. And then my uncle, Will Flanagan, became the mayor. I've been up in his office. I've seen him run the city firsthand, and I became very interested by it. And ever since the recall, I knew I knew then I wanted to become very involved in fall river politics as soon as I could.
So, and I know that you're trying to change something.
That's right. Let me talk about that.
Yes.
I introduced a movement, an online grassroots movement called the 17ers Campaign. It's basically a little change to the amendment, which is very easy, on the city charter to change the age to run, the concept to run to 17 years old. Currently is you have to be a registered voter and a city resident under the charter right now. I introduced an adoption to change that order to be allowed to run, not to vote, to be allowed to run, for it to be 17 and a city resident.
Okay. And how is it standing right now?
Right now, I think we have some life behind it. Currently, I was just on the phone with Councilor Steve Long. He was gonna bring it up tomorrow to send it down to ordinance or to vote on it, but I believe the FROID talks with the administration took a lot of that time because they went over, and I was okay with that. I'm meeting with Councilor Cabaceres to talk about it tomorrow. I don't think it was on the agenda for the last meeting, but I'm gonna contact the city clerk either today or tomorrow to see when it will be on the meeting so it can be brought up, and if someone wants to refer to ordinance or vote on it there. A lot of people that I know support this. I just drafted a petition that's going to be going around. It's going to be on my Facebook site, all the information for the movement, 17ers, Collin Dias. It's the profile picture of the campaign sign. It's under pages. But I think we're going pretty well. I think there's a great possibility this could be passed.
Okay. One thing that I want you to realize and happens in anything that we do is that we have the people opposing and people supporting. People opposing, they won't oppose anything. They always try to stop everything. They always try to interfere with everything.
I received opposition.
I want you to realize this. They are a very small number, but they let people hear them like they're a big voice, but they're a small group.
Oh yeah.
Because that happens all the time. I see our future in the hands of the young. The olds, we're gonna go, and if we don't leave roots, then we're not gonna. They are the ones who are gonna finish our job. We're not gonna be around to finish the job. Having young people, having young daughters, I think their future is in danger because of these small groups trying to kill something just because people are young and they don't have experience. We all start our lives with no experience. Life gives us experience.
You're right.
And we learn from our mistakes. Politics is the same way. Nobody is a professional politic one day to another. They learn, it's a system. They learn to become a good politic or corrupt politic. But they need a chance. And when I saw you approaching the city council, something gave me a light at the end of the tunnel, because I'm sitting there and I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking to myself, it is people out there that really want to grab, and instead of us just brace them and give them the right ways or try to lead them, and make them make their own decision, we're not doing our job. So for those, I don't know what you want to call them, I definitely stay away from haters.
Radicals.
You know,
I have a name for them.
Yes. So why don't you join the movement, and why don't you at least give them a chance? Just because you are 17 and because you are a nephew of a mayor, it's not reasons for me not to listen to you, not to hear what you have to say, and not to support you. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I understand completely what you're trying to say.
You know, and probably you learned something from this whole thing that your uncle lost his seat.
Oh, I have.
You know, so with that being said, I think that you already have a little bit of that feeling of politics, and you are never sitting as an official politic.
Well, what I've really learned from the recall is that not that you can't trust people, but some people are in it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And people are going to support you, and when it's politically right, they're going to go against you. That's what the city council right now. Like, I don't support the mayor on many things, but sometimes they can be on the city council can be on his neck.
Yes.
They can, what's the word I'm looking for? Not obstruct them almost, not all of them. And he needs a tough council to guide him in the right direction, but I think at times, I think they do it for their own political agenda. And I'm not saying any names. I've made friends with many people on the city council now, and I believe they're all good people, and they all have Florida's best interests at heart. But we need to find a way to come together. And I think we need a new generation of talent and of politics in the city. For the last 3 decades, we've degraded as a city. Have you seen our city? It's not the same as it's been in the 80s or the 70s. Culturally, we're not right. We have an awful opioid crisis, a drug crisis. The crime rate is still very high. Unemployment is very high. And these are issues that must be addressed. And I believe I have the intellect and the talents, despite my age, to get it done.
I don't know if you know, but the school committee adopted something last year, which they have a couple of people from a couple of students sitting at the board and bringing the voice from the students into the school committee. So they're not really part of the board, but they are voices that can be asked questions, and they always speak in behalf of the students.
Is that just for the public schools or for the private too?
No,
charter?
Public schools.
Oh.
That was last year. And you were talking in front of the city council, and I'm thinking, no wonder if that could work for the city council, having a couple of young people sitting with city councils and voicing and giving the city council the advice from the young generation.
That
with
would
the
work
young.
with all branches of government. I think that would work really well with the mayor. I think if I was like the mayor's little advisor, actually I'm gonna say little, I think I'd be bigger than him. But if I was his advisor, I think I could help him in the right direction. I met with the mayor before. I've gotten along with him. I apologize if I've ever been very critical of him, very personal in the past. I said I would work with him. I actually have a meeting with him today at City Hall for his mayor's youth council.
Okay.
It's in It's at 4:30 in his. I believe he's going. It's in his office. So.
Yeah.
So like, I want open communication with the mayor. I want him to succeed. I want the city council to succeed. I believe it's a great idea. We should have people like me and our young generation advising our city government. That'd be a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really thought about the way that could work. What seat did you think that you would like to run if you are able to?
If I get.
It's okay if you want to run for mayor because
if I get this law changed, the 17ers passed before the election, so I'm able to run. I've thought about this a lot. Honestly, wherever my talents are most needed, like I could see myself on the charter commission. I've studied the charter, and I have some ideas to improve the charter myself, and that would benefit our city. City council is really the main one. Mm-hmm. I believe we need someone who can bring people together and work with the mayor. I know people have said this before, but I really believe I can do it because I really have the city's best interests at heart. I have many good ideas for the city. But for mayor, there are some good people running right now. Not the mayor, but there are some good people running. I think if I ran, I could win, or I could get quadruple votes, like in the thousands. I could really run a very good campaign. I'm not ruling out running for mayor if this passes, mm-hmm. or in 2019. But I'm really looking at city council right now.
Okay, because I have to admit that to run for mayor, you do need experience. A lot of the mistakes are made by mayors is for the fact that they don't have experience. And it makes a big difference when you have experience to do the job. I'm not saying that you cannot get elected without experience. We had it. We're having right now a mayor that during his campaign always promised people that I don't know everything, but I'm going to get around people that really knows what they're doing.
That's the thing with Jesus' career. He had experience, but it's not good experience. Mm. I've talked about this before with people on the show. He's had 2 failed businesses. Mm-hmm. He currently, have you heard about the STAR program? About STAR relocating, moving to
yes,
Weaver
the
Street?
movement that's going on.
Yep. Jesus Carrera is a part of STAR. Like, he is a director at STAR. He's not getting paid, I don't believe, but that's still I believe that's a conflict of interest for all the people out there who oppose this. You oppose something, you're gonna go to the mayor and find out he works for that company. I don't believe that's right. I believe he should resign. I don't have any bad experience. Sure, I don't have much experience, but the way I would run city government, there would be a very big overhaul because we need it, because as I talked about, our city declining, we need to go in a very, very different direction. Mm-hmm. I would bring people from the outside, I'd bring very experienced people in, and I think it wouldn't just be me running the show, it would be a city effort. It's what we need. We need a city effort to get ourselves out of this hole.
Nobody gets elected into office just saying that they have experience, because we never have enough experience. We never have enough experience. Not in politics, not in anything. But what we have is a common sense to run ourselves and to get different opinions and run the best that we think that's going to work. This happens in everything. This happens when you go out and try to buy a car. Yeah. You look for the right car, and then you post the positives and the bad. Okay, this car is beautiful, but I'm going to waste a lot of gas. right? This car, it's cheap in gas, but guess what? Only have 2 doors. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of shop around and you listen to the experts. One thing that people always tell me about is politics and car sales people, they're not honest. And I truly don't believe that. In both you have the good and the bad. Probably more the bad and a few goods. But still a few goods out there. I have a car salesman that I work with for the past 20 years. I change my car every 3 years. Many times I went there and I looked at a car and I said, oh my God, I love that car. And he said, Carlos, it's not for you. I trust my salesman because I know it's there to sell. But the way he says is, I know I'm going to sell you a car. So doesn't make a difference if I'm going to sell you that car or that car, I'm going to make my money. But I prefer you to buy that car because I know the history of that car. I know that car is not going to break on you. I know the history of that car. So politics is the same way. You need just to pick the right one and the one that really wants the best for the community. And sometimes they sell themselves for cheap, and they lose a career. Okay, so that's what I think between. And for those that say that car people are like politics, they lie and they're not. They're only there for themselves. I don't believe that. What do you thought about?
I'll bring up a point of something you just said. A current city councilor right now, he gave me not advice, but a very good opinion that I still think about today. There's people in the city who would be very qualified to run, but they just don't run because they don't want to be put in that spotlight,
they
or they don't want
to go through what you're going through right now.
What anyone's gone through. Have you seen what the city council's gone through, what my uncle's gone through? My uncle's gone through a lot with that recall, things he didn't deserve.
No, you're probably not. You don't know what's going on out there, but I know what's going on out there. And for some people to trash you, the way they're trashing you, just because you're a nephew of Flanagan,
that's just the minority of the radical. I don't really.
That's why I said
value their opinion.
Exactly, but they have no right. They have no right to confuse you with your uncle. You are you, and your uncle is your uncle. They cannot tell that you're going to make the same mistakes if was any of Flanagan. One thing don't have to do with the other. So just on that, and it's great that you're not reading about, that you not care about, and that you know that's just
I laugh
small.
at it. I laugh at it. I don't really like.
It's a good way
comedy,
to take
yeah.
it. It's a good way to do it, because to tell you the truth, I don't know if I could hold myself. And I'm a lot older than you. I have a lot more experience than you. But don't try to make me swallow something that I don't like it. Because, and probably that's why I never run for office, because I don't want to be on that position that I have to swallow just because they're going to vote. You know what I'm saying? It's not for me. That's why politics is not for me. I love politics. I love to be involved. I love to talk about politics, give opinions on politics, but I don't want to be a politic.
Yeah.
So you need really to have
It's good. It's good you're involved. It's good you're involved, though.
The good thing, it's I'm involved, and we were just talking about.
That's all we need. Not everyone has to be a politician. As long as you're involved,
exactly.
that helps the city.
And it's funny that election year is pretty much starting, and my phone start getting calls. I start getting calls and text messages for lunch, because I already know what these people want. These people want to find out who is Carlos Cesar going to support. And because, I speak Portuguese, a lot of people on this country on this city that vote, but they don't speak English.
Yeah.
They don't follow politics, but they depend on people that follow politics, and I have that they kind of trust me on that part, and the texts are coming. The good thing is out of this I pay some lunches, but I get a lot of free lunches too. So and I advise people where we need to go. And it's funny because the calls start coming in, the texts start coming in, and some people they come right on Facebook. They want meet for lunch, so everybody's is reading that this person wants to meet me for lunch, and they know that we're going to talk about politics. So what's your movement? Okay, FU movement. I hope that dies. I hope that has a future. But what do you think being, on the future, FU movement really gets into a stop?
If I don't pass the 17ers by this election,
yes.
Well, that won't really hurt me in the long term, because 2019 I'll always be involved. I will never stop being involved in the politics of the city, in the city itself. I'm always going to try and help my city any way I can. That's never going to change. And then I'll see what the state of the city is in 2 years if I want to run, and what position I would want to run for. I really think I can make a big difference for this community in elected office. I have many great ideas, and the reason I'm not really talking about them right now, I don't want to. I was mentioned this. People say online, "Oh, I'm not giving any ideas," or what am I going to do? Well, I don't want to start campaigning when I'm not even on the ballot yet.
Exactly.
I don't.
No, you want to save those eggs, You want to.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to look like a fool.
Because there's a lot of people out there with empty baskets looking for eggs.
Yeah,
and you don't want to sell you eggs for free.
Exactly, and I don't. And if the movement doesn't work, and I'm giving out all these ideas, and I'm campaigning for a position I can't even run for that year, I'm going to look foolish.
Exactly. No, but I'm happy at least that you're trying, and you're young. You're going to make it. 2 years, it's not that far. You're just going to get more experience in 2 years.
Yeah.
From now on, you're just going to get its experience, and it's good to stay involved, because people really realize that you're not there just when the campaign comes around. You are around for the entire time.
Yeah.
That you help everybody. That that you stay involved, and they will give you a chance. The minimum that could happen is them at least giving you a chance to see how you're going to make it, how you're going to do it. And if it's there, something that they liked on you, they will keep supporting. Because those city councils that we have for 30 years, they didn't come in with the experience. They gave it their best shot, and people liked what they had to say and what they had to do. So, Collin, it's the end of our show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to wish you a lot of luck, and don't stop.
I won't. Thank you.
Thank you
for having me.
See you next week.